Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you have been here before. Today I am doing a tutorial on this look. It is a very in-depth makeup tutorial. I go over how I apply everything, the techniques that I use, the brushes that I use, my favorite products, everything. This is like my go-to makeup look. Sometimes I'll go more dramatic or whatever. Sometimes I don't wear anything at all, but this is my go-to, it's not a natural, it's not a minimal makeup look. This is just my go-to makeup look. Sometimes I do lashes, sometimes I do a wing. It just depends. Anyway, go-to look. If you want to see how I got this look, please stay tuned. Let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so I already have my skincare on. If you want to know my skincare routine, I can share that with you. But I want to preface that by saying my skincare changes all the time because I've been trying to use up a lot of the like travel size and stuff that I get from my subscription bags that I've got in my back stock over here. So it's not going to be the same. So that might not even be beneficial to you. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to start out with a primer. I'm going to use, I clamp my stuff down. This is the Cover FX Gripping and Firming Primer. It's like a jelly-like consistency. It does make the skin a little bit tacky. It kind of separates in the tube, so I will shake it up. And I'll just get a large pea-sized amount. Rub it between my palms, or my fingers, and just rub that all over. I'll even go up under the eyes a little bit. On the neck. When I start rubbing on my face, it does get a little bit red, but it'll calm down. Okay, and then I'm going to use, this is one of my all-time favorite foundations. It's from Dollar General. It's the Believe Beauty foundation. I have mine in the shade Buff. It does have a pump, and it's personal preference. I've done it both ways, where you do your eye makeup first or your face makeup first. It's just whatever you prefer. For years now, I've been doing face first and then eyes. So I'm just going to get one pump for now. I use about 2.5 pumps, just depending. This is I would say medium buildable foundation, and it just has a really nice natural finish to it. And then again, personal preference, you can use a dampened beauty sponge or a brush. Sometimes I use a combination of the two. This one is from It Cosmetics. It's the Love is the Foundation brush. They release this, a version of this every October. I think they might even release it in September. I cannot remember. But it's for breast cancer awareness. So I'm just going to do a mixture of swirls, and then I will press the foundation into my skin. You want to make sure to bring it down your neck, especially if it's not like a perfect shade match. I have several different foundations, so not all of them are always going to be a perfect shade match for me. So I'm just going to continue working this into the skin, and then I will come back and we will do concealer. Okay, then for concealer, I'm going to do a little bit of color correcting. You don't have to do this. I don't even do it all the time, but I'm going to use this one from Mary Kay. It is their under eye corrector. I don't think they have a shade for this one. They have their concealers, and then they have their just like corrector shades. So this is their under eye corrector. It just has a doe foot applicator. And I'm just going to put a little bit right here. And I'm going to let that sit while I put concealer on the center of my face. And then I will let that sit. I don't know why I'm explaining before I even show you. This is a dampened sponge from Real Techniques. I have sliced part of it out just because I was painting my nails the other day and I want to do glitter, and I didn't have a makeup sponge like those cheapy triangle ones to cut out, and I've been using this one for a while, and I was like, you know what, I'll just cut a little chunk out. So that's why that's there. For the rest of my face, I'm going to use this JCat Stay Assurance Water Sealed Concealer in the shade Buff. I'm almost out of mine. I've taken out the stopper, and it has a traditional cap on it, but it didn't want to stay on anymore. So I apply concealer here, a little down the bridge of my nose, upper lip, and chin, not a ton. Then I will also put some underneath my eyes. Just gonna use the pointed end and tap that out. If you use a brush, you'll get more coverage. This is just what I'm choosing to do today. I don't do the same thing all the time. I just grab whatever I grab, and that's how I do my makeup for that day. So there's that blended out. And then I'm going to, the reason I'm letting them sit on my skin is I feel like it gives a little bit more coverage if it kind of dries down a little bit. So I'm not covering my whole under eye. I'm just doing a little bit here, and then I'm going to come out here with just a little bit. I don't have a ton of product on my skin. And then while that sits, I'm going to buff out the concealer in the center of my face. Kind of tap out any forehead creases that I have. I just have wrinkles up there, and so it can kind of settle. Okay, so that's blended out, and my under eyes are kind of setting a little bit. I'm going to set the center of my face a little bit, part of the center of my face, with this setting powder. It's from Red Aspen. It's just a loose translucent setting powder. And I'm going to use, right now, this e.l.f. small tapered brush. I need to wash my brushes. I'm just picking a little bit. It looks like there's a ton. There's not that much powder on there. It's just kind of, it's dirty. And then this is what I do. I pull my forehead dot to kind of keep it from being creased. And I'm just lightly pressing that into my skin, and then I will swirl super lightly. I'm not applying a lot of pressure at all. I'm going to get a little bit more powder, tap off any excess, and set my chin. I do not get oily. The only places I will get a little bit oily is on the sides of my nose, but the rest of my face is we're pretty dry. I'm just getting a little bit more and going on my chin here, or jawline, I mean. And I'm doing this to make my skin taut so it doesn't skip, so the brush doesn't skip. I do not set my nose with any translucent powder. My nose takes product weird, so I just tend to leave it alone with the matte stuff. And then now that my under eye concealer has set for a little bit, I'm going to blend it out with the sponge. Just gently tapping. Take it down the sides of my nose. Make sure I'm getting really good into the creases here. And then I also take it on my eyelids. I don't always use an eyeshadow primer. If I do, it's the Milani eyeshadow primer. Okay, so now that that's blended out, I'm going to do the other side, and then I will set them with the same translucent powder. So for this, sometimes I will use the same brush, sometimes I will use this dampened sponge. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of the setting powder. I'm just swirling like this. There's not a lot of powder on the top. And then I'm going to make a funny face and set my under eyes. See, I've already got creasing, so I'm going to grab a brush. You can use your finger for that step, but since I've got these nails on, I'm not going to. Just gently pressing. I'm going to pick up a little bit more powder. You can work in very light layers. You shouldn't get cakey with whatever powder you're using. I really like this powder. I've got, most of us have pores here that are visible, so now I'm just going to set the rest of my cheek. And now I'm just pressing this into the skin all over, just to make sure everything is really pressed into my skin. And this will also pick up any excess product. I don't know if you can tell, but I do still have some dryness from when I had my head cold, so it's just there, and I'm sorry if it's gross, but I'm going to, you don't have to do 2 powders. This is just how I have been doing my makeup for several months now. This is the Jaclyn, sorry if I blinded you. This is the Jaclyn Luminous powder in the shade Do Me. And I'm just going to tap some into the cap, pick it up with that small tapered brush, and I will put this all over my face. I don't like the feel of dewy skin, like the tackiness of it, but I do like the look of it. So that's why I personally go in with 2 different powders. So I'm just going to pick up some on the brush, tap off any excess. I'm going to set the same places. I will use this powder on my nose since it's luminous. It tends to do fine on my nose, so I don't know why it makes a difference, but that's just what it does. Again, I'm not applying a lot of pressure when I'm swirling on with a brush. Very light pressure. I also don't set my upper lip. So. Okay, for like the rest of my face products, sometimes I will just grab whatever I feel like out of my drawer, but for this tutorial's sake, I'm going to use like an all-in-one face palette, because I feel like if you're just kind of getting into makeup or trying something new, maybe it would be a little less overwhelming to have just everything in one place. So I don't have a lot of all-in-one face palettes. What I'm going to use is from Smashbox. It's their Cali Contour palette. They only have it in 2 shade varieties. They have the one that I have, and then they have one that they say is for medium to tan or medium to deep. I can't remember which one. I will list them both in the description box down below. They could definitely improve on the shade range. I also have the Hourglass palette. That one is very expensive. I've had it for several years now and I still use it. They could definitely work on their shade range. e.l.f. makes a really good one. I'll do some searching because like I don't have a lot personally, so this is just what I know. So this is the Smashbox Cali Contour face palette. I have mine in the shade, it doesn't say on there, but I do have the lighter version. It has a really nice mirror. It's pretty compact for travel. So it has a cooler tone contour shade. It has a matte highlighting powder, just a setting powder if you wanted to use that to set your under eyes. I've done that several times. It's beautiful. There are 2 different highlights in here. And you have a slightly shimmery bronzer and a kind of a satin blush. These are more satiny than shimmery. So I can use this when I have a tan. It's pretty buildable, so if you want it, you know. So I typically stick to this highlight. Then there's this one here too. So there's the 2 highlighters. This is the bronzer, the blush, and then I'll do the contour and the like setting powder. I have to do them up here. So that's the setting powder. You're not really gonna be able to see it. And that's the contour shade. I know this is not a great place to do swatches, but swatches don't really, you know, do the best for showing you what it is, but I know some people like them, so I'm gonna include them. Okay, so I'm going to start with my bronzer. I just use a big fluffy brush for that. This is just one from Wet n Wild, and I'm going to go into the bronzer. These do kick up some powder, so just be aware of that. And I'm going to do my forehead. What I typically do is I will tap a powder product onto my skin wherever I'm at, and then I will go in and blend. I'm not putting a lot of pressure. If you're worried about how much pressure you're going to put on, hold the brush farther back. The closer you hold the brush, the more pressure you'll naturally put. So if you're worried about it, just hold farther back. So I'm just going to keep dipping into the bronzer and bronze where I bronze. I bronze my forehead. I put most of the product on the sides, and then whatever's left I will swirl across. And then I'll come down here, here, and jawline and sides of my nose. That's just where I like to bronze. I try to keep, so like here's the hollow of my cheek here. I try to keep all my cheek products above that, just so it's not like dragging my face down too much. So to do that, I kind of go in with the side of the brush like that, and then swirl up. You want to make sure you're working into your hairline, so there's not like a stark contrast. And then to go here, I just go side to side, and I leave this blank. I'm getting the temples, working it into my hairline, swirling back and forth. I'm applying such light pressure, so you run the risk of getting patchy if you apply too much pressure, so that's why I'm really making sure I tell you how little pressure I'm applying. If you want, you can drag this down onto your chest, your ears, just wherever you want it, and whatever's left on the brush, I just kind of tap on the sides of my nose a little bit. Then I'm going to go in with the highlighter, the lighter of the two. I'm going with this highlight here. This is a brush from ColourPop. It's the F5 cheek highlighter. I'm just tapping into these products lightly. I'm not scrubbing. And I'm also tapping off the excess. I will tap off excess back into whatever the product was that I use. I'm not like tapping it off into wherever. So I start up here, wherever you put your brush first, that's where the most product will be deposited. So I do this with my skin. I just feel like it helps products blend easier. So I tap all along the top of my cheekbone lightly, and I'm kind of going like, you see I'm doing like this, and then I will go in with the tip of the brush and very lightly swirl, just up and down. And I also bring it around my eyebrow. Whatever's left on the brush, I will take on my forehead, and then I'll get a little bit and I highlight the tip of my nose and also the bridge of my nose. These are just places that I put product. You don't have to put it where I put it if you don't like it. Cupid's bow and chin. And then for the blush, I'll use this e.l.f. blush brush since you can't get the other one anymore. My favorite one is from Up and Up from Target, but you can't find that anymore. This is just the e.l.f. blush brush, and I'm going to go into the blush. So see, it does pick up quite a bit of product. These are pretty powdery, but they're pigmented, so just be careful with them. And I'm just tapping that onto my cheeks, the apple of my cheeks, and then I'm swirling along this way and up into the hairline, back down, pick up a little more. I like a lot of blush. You put on however much blush you want. I do think it's important to apply blush. I think it gives a lot of life to the face. But makeup is just all personal preference, but I was asked to do a tutorial, so this is how I do it. And then sometimes I will just kind of sweep it over my nose. If I feel like doing that, I do it. If I don't, then I don't. I'm going to go into the contour shade, and this is one of my favorite brushes to contour with. It's from Real Techniques. It's just the contour brush. I'm just tapping in with the tip of the brush, tapping off excess, and I go in the hollow of my cheek. I bring it down just like I did the bronzer. I also do here a little bit, jawline and nose, and under my lip. Again, I'm trying to stay above the hollow of my cheek, trying to stay above here. If you can't see it, like I can see mine. If you can't see it, you can feel where the hollow is. Like here's your cheekbone, follow it down, press, and that's where you need to stay above. And then I'm just lightly swirling and then back and forth just like I did with the bronzer. I'm making sure to really work the product in and blend it out. I'm not doing this to look natural, so if that's why you're here, that's not what you're gonna get. And then to do my nose, I'll use a small angled brush. I can find it. It's from Luxie. Any brush like this will do. Contour shade, tap off excess. And I just go along the sides of my nose. And I also contour in here, just so it's not ending abruptly. Also do under the tip of my nose. I like to go under my lip a little bit, and then I will just kind of blend it out, rock back and forth on my chin. If at any point you feel like you have too much of something, this is great to just gently tap into and make it a little less. So that is it for this palette. For time's sake, I'm going to use this also for my eyeshadow. I use my Kat Von D Shade Light palette all the time for contouring and for eyeshadow, but I wanted to use something that had all the face products in it for the purposes of this tutorial, so I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to first use the bronzer in my crease, and then I will use this to deepen it up a little bit, and then I will use this matte shade on my lid. So I'm going to blend out any creases first, and then just with a flat shader brush. This one is from e.l.f. It's one they used to cost $1. And to set my lids first, I'm going to go into that matte vanilla shade and just set all over, from lash line to brow bone, inner corner, everything. Okay, and then any fluffy crease brush will work for this. This one is from Makeup Forever. It's one of my favorite crease brushes, but you don't need one for Makeup Forever. This one is from Morphe. It's the M504. It's very similar to the Sigma E40 brush. So I'm just going to tap into the bronzer, tap this all throughout my crease, and then I'm just going to blend it. I do a mixture of all kinds of motions. You can do circular motions back and forth. You can do windshield wiper motions back and forth. I just do a little bit of everything just to make sure it is super blended. I blend quickly. I don't, I don't go real slow. I'm just trying to get this stuff blended out. I'm not applying a ton of pressure either. I'm not ever applying a ton of pressure. Again, if you're concerned about how much pressure you're going to apply, hold really far back on the brush and it will be, but I don't feel like I have enough control when I hold that far back, so I hold about in the middle. I'm really working it in here. That's just how I like to do my shadow. You can stop here and not work it all the way in here. Just play around with it. It's just makeup. You can wash it off. And then I'm going to take a slightly smaller and more pointed crease brush. I'm cleaning this off. This is just a hair donut from the Dollar Tree. You can get those like, Vera Mona or Vera Moda color switch things, or they have like an Ulta and a Sephora one too, but $1.25. So I'm just cleaning off the brush on that. It's the same material, so. And then I'm going to go into this. This looks super gray on camera, but it's not that gray in person. And I'm just going to deepen up my crease a little bit, just to provide a little bit more shadowing. Same motions I was doing before, but I'm keeping them tighter. I'm not going like out to my brow or anything. I'm just keeping them tighter, but I'm going in the same places. Doing the same motions, just smaller. And then on the belly of the brush, I will pick up a little bit more, and I'm going to pat that on the outer corner. And kind of flick inward. So first I'm picking up on the tip of the brush to do my crease work, and then the belly of the brush for the outer corner. Okay, and then while we're working with these shades, I'll do my lower lash line. This is just a small brush from Morphe. I really like Morphe brushes. If you are looking to get some makeup brushes, I highly recommend the Morphe brushes. I'm not affiliated with them, don't have codes, don't have any of that stuff. I just genuinely like them. I've had them for many years now. They're all doing great. This is the M506, just a teeny tiny little wispy. I'm gonna go into the bronzer. I'm kind of tilting my chin down and looking up. I don't use like a handheld mirror to do my makeup ever. I just have one bigger mirror here, and that's what I look into. And then I'm going to go into the contour shade. Same thing, just not as big. And I make sure to connect up here. Okay, and then for the lid, I'm going to take that same flat shader brush we used to set my lids, and the same shade. Again, I would just use my finger for this portion if I didn't have longer nails on, but I'm using a brush. And I'm just patting that on like the inner 2/3 of my lid and leaving the deeper shade here, but I am overlapping just a little bit just so it looks blended. So that is it for the like main eyeshadow portion. You can use this if you wanted to for inner corner and brow bone. I'm not going to because I have a really bright one that I prefer over that, but you can use this. I just really like super bright inner corners. So I'm going to, I don't see any fallout, but just in case there is, I don't want to set it with setting spray. I'm just going to take this brush, there's nothing extra on it, and just super lightly sweep under here just to make sure there's nothing. You can also do that if you're a pro like me. Not a pro. I'm going to set my face. This is not my favorite, but it's the one that I have open. It starts to like spit at me. I don't like that. This is just MAC Fix Plus. This is the lavender scent. See, it's spitting at me. I use a lot of setting spray. I just spray it all over. You can use a fan, you can let it dry naturally. I have this super bougie Lights Label card that I use because it's bright and fun. Okay, and then for brows, I'm going to do a wing just because this is a tutorial, so I want to show you how I do a wing in case you're interested in doing that. For brows, I'm going to use my Morphe brow pencil. It's in the shade Chocolate Mousse. My favorite brow pencil. Talk about it all the time. $6. You get a spoolie on one end. They have a ton of shades. So I've had a hard time finding a shade that I like for my eyebrows with this hair color. So my brows are not the same. I'm not trying to make like perfection here. I'm just trying to fill them in and give some shape. So I start on the bottom. I apply more pressure to do the outline of my brow and then lighter pressure to fill them in. So just kind of draw that line. You can do shorter strokes if you're not comfortable drawing a whole line. I'm trying to regrow this up here. I accidentally shave it off all the time. I can't really talk an eyebrow. I'm going to shut this off because it keeps washing me out. And I'm releasing pressure as I come to the end of it. And then lighter pressure here to fill in a little bit. And then even lighter pressure to fill in this part. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other brow, and then I have something else that I use to do the fronts. If you don't want to get the brow marker that I use, you can just use your brow pencil. If it's a skinnier one, it works better. And lay it flat against your skin and use the edge of the pencil to flick up and create those hair-like strokes in the front if that's the look that you're going for. That's as even as we're going to get today, and it's fine. Somebody has anything to say about your brows or my brows, you got too much time on your hands, okay? I just flung that into my empties bag. This is what I like to use to do the hair-like strokes in the front of my brow. This is the NYX Lift and Snatch brow tint pen. I have mine in the shade black. It's a brush tip pen. Shake it up. I store mine flat. This has lasted me a very long time. It was just a very fine brush tip, and I come straight at my face and flick up very, very lightly, just kind of real quick strokes. You can go slow at first to kind of get the hang of it. Barely touching this to my skin, and then I'll start to drag it through the rest of the brow a little bit. And sometimes I'll even like do the outline a little bit more if I feel like I want to do that. And then for me, it's a little harsh, so I will take a finger and just gently kind of tap it out. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm going to let that kind of sit on my skin before I do my brow gel. So I'm going to do my brow bone highlight and my inner corner highlight, and then we'll do winged liner, brow gel, lashes, and a lip. So I go in with two products to do my inner corners. This one is affordable. The other one is a little more pricey for what it is, but it has lasted me, I don't even know how long I've had it, probably 6 or 7 years at this point. This is from ColourPop. It's their cheek highlight, Super Shock cheek highlight in the shade Flexitarian. This has lasted me longer than the pigment has. I know some people have problems with ColourPop Super Shock things drying out. Just make sure the lid is like super screwed on tight, and I have not had any issues. This is a teeny tiny brush from Morphe. It is the M213. So I'm just going to pick up some of this and put it on my inner corner. I go in with this first because it's a cream. It will dry down. But I feel like it grabs the next thing that I use and just makes it even more blinding, which this is like my favorite part of my makeup, is my inner corner highlight. I just go like that, and I'll kind of feather it out top and bottom. And then to do my brow bone, I go in just with the tip, and I make a really thin line under here. You don't have to do this step. You can do a matte shade. You can do nothing at all. I just like the way this looks. Personal preference. This time I do raise my brows just to pull the skin taut. This is from Makeup Forever. It's their Starlit Powder in number 13 Ivory. I've even dropped this and spilled a whole bunch, and she's still kicking, okay? So, same application method as I did with the Super Shock shade. See the difference? And I'm just working from the cap. Tip of the brush to do the brow bone. Then I'll go ahead and do my brow gel. I just like to let my brow product sit for a little bit before I go in with something goopy, just to hopefully allow it to set better. This is from Pixie. It looks gross because it's clear and it gets brow product in it quickly. It's fine. My favorite is the NYX brow gel. So I like when there's goop on the end of the spoolie because I take that and I run it all through my brow first, and then I will brush it through with the rest of it. My brow hairs are pretty long. They're light and I don't have a lot of them, but they do need to be like set down real good. So I'm almost out of this, so I'm like screwing it back on and then getting the product at the bottom. Okay, so brows are done. Now I'm going to do liner, lashes, lips. I'm going to tight line first. Since I'm going to do a wing and lashes, I'm going to tight line first. If I wasn't going to do liner on my lids, I wouldn't bother with tight lining, but since I'm doing that, I like it to fill in the gaps more. This is my favorite. I've gone through a whole bunch of these pencils. It's backwards. The Essence Extreme Lasting eye pencil. It's waterproof. It's in the shade Black Love. It's one that you have to sharpen. This is important. Do not get the one that you have to twist up. Not the same product. This does not transfer on me. It's like $3. They have different shades. I've got brown, gray, cream, all kinds. So I'm going to go ahead and do my waterline. If eye stuff grosses you out, look away. But I gently push on my lid just so I can access that better, and I'm not worried I'm going to touch my eyeball. And I don't fill my whole waterline in. I just try to get as close to my lashes as possible. And I kind of wiggle it in between lashes. So I only do about half of my waterline or tight line thickness or whatever. So can you see the difference that makes? And if you're newer at applying fake lashes, this will help fill in any gaps. I've been doing lashes for many years and I still have gaps, and this helps me not like worry about it so much. If I'm doing top liner. If I don't do top liner, I don't feel this is necessary. I'm not going to do my waterline. I just don't prefer that on me. And then for my liquid liner, this is from Wet n Wild. This is their breakup proof, waterproof liquid eyeliner in the shade Ultra Black. It has a really fine brush tip. I'm going to shake it up. I have not done a wing with this yet. I just tried this out for the first time the other day, and I really, really liked it. So what I do first when I'm going to line my eyes at all is I will do a thin line across my lashes, and then I'll do the wing. So sometimes I just start wherever I feel like starting. Today I'm going to start here. I'm laying the pen flat, but I'm working from the tip. I still go in shorter strokes. Sometimes I'll do a longer one. And you can change the direction of your pen if you feel that you need to. So sometimes I'm going this way, sometimes I'm going that way. I am tilting my head back and looking down just so I can really access everything. So you can fully stop here. You don't have to do a wing. Like I said, I'm going to do a wing today, but you can fully stop here. It's all personal preference. I do both. So then I'm flipping. I'm coming across. You see I have my finger here. That's to give me some more stability on the pen. You can also rest your hand on your face if you want to do that. I prefer a brush tip over a felt tip liner just because felt tips tend to skip. And I bring it all the way to my inner corner. Okay, now I'm going to do the wing. I don't know how noticeable it is to anybody, but I have really noticed it in the last like year or whatever doing this. This eye is smaller than this eye for me, and it also kind of tilts down a little bit more than this one. I don't stress about making them the same. I've been trying to get better about making them a little bit more even. Now that I've noticed that, I don't know that anyone else notices that, but I notice it. So anyway, I'm going to take this, put it like this across my eye like this, and I'm making the bottom of the wing first. So I like a big wing. You do whatever you want to do. I'm not stretching my skin very much, but I am doing the tilting my head back and looking down thing a little bit. So I'm just going to apply really light pressure and just kind of drag it back down towards my lash line, and then I'll do the top and then we can fill it in. So there's the bottom. And then I'm not going to go to the very end of the line because I want it to be a sharp wing. So I'm going to start it a little farther in. I'm going to do the same motion and connect it over here. You see I kind of like bring my head like that. So there's the outline of the wing. I have hooded eyes. I try not to overthink it. I don't know. And then I'm just going to fill it in. So there's one wing. Got to do the other one. Winged liner can smell fear, so don't be afraid. Just practice. Do it at the end of the day, right before you wash your face. If you're not used to doing this stuff, just do it right before you wash your face. Then you don't have to worry about leaving the house if you're worried about it. So my head's also tilted a little bit to the side. Today's not my best winged liner day, okay? I don't recommend doing this if you're not used to doing winged liner, but I want to make this a little bit sharper, so I'm going to that's as even as we're going to get. They're not even at all. But once I get the lashes on, you're not going to be able to see as much of it. And like I said, this eye tilts down for me and is smaller, so this wing comes up a little bit more than this one does. I'm trying to kind of work it all out. I'm still learning. For mascara, I'm going to use this Big Papa mascara. It's fine. I got it on clearance at the Dollar General. It has like a hourglass brush, kind of like the Too Faced. And I'm just going to put a light coat on my lashes since I'm going to put on falsies today. I'm not going to really worry about building this up. This just helps blend my lighter lashes in with the false ones. I will use this on top and bottom. I will put a few coats on the bottom lashes. Okay, so mascara is done. I have longer lower lashes and it will transfer some product under here when it's still wet. So I wait until it is completely dry and then I'll flick it off with a Q-tip. If that ever happens to you, if you get mascara anywhere around your eyes that you don't want it, wait until it dries and then go in with a Q-tip and gently kind of like roll it and flick it off. Don't try to do it when it's still wet. Wait as long as you possibly can. So for false lashes, I'm going to use these. These are, I believe they are from Kiss. I don't have the packaging anymore. I never keep the packaging for lashes. I will link everything that I can down below. So I'm just going to pick off, I've reused and reused and reused these lashes. I don't even know how many times I've reused these lashes. I do clean them with alcohol pads. I try to do it every time that I'm going to rewear them. I'll do it right before I put them on. I pick the glue off right before I put them on. I don't like to do it when I take them off because the glue is not dry enough. Like, it's still tacky. So I wait until the next time I'm going to put them on before I'll pick the glue off. So I just use my nails and pick off the glue. So there's the glue. I'm just holding the fluffy part of the lash and picking off the glue. These are already trimmed to fit my eye. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on lash application, I highly suggest Emily Noel's video for lashes. I can link that down below for you. It's wonderful. She's how I learned how to put on fake lashes. So if you want to learn from the master, go to Miss Emily. So sometimes I will put the glue on both lash bands at the same time. Sometimes I don't. For this tutorial, I'm just going to do one at a time. So I will hold the lash in between my index and thumb. This is my favorite lash glue. It's from Aspen. It's cruelty-free. It doesn't have any of those nasty chemicals in it. It's latex-free. It's a brush tip. I've gone through several tubes of it. So I just put a thin line on the lash band. Very thin. Very, very thin. So it goes on white, and when it's ready to put on, it'll turn to a more blue iridescent color. You can kind of see the color here where it's dried on the inside of the tube, where it's thinned out. I'm almost out of this, so I'm going to screw the cap back on for now. And then I'm going to get it ready. You can apply lashes with your fingers. You can use tweezers. Be very careful if you use tweezers. My favorite way to put them on is with a lash applicator tool. You can get these anywhere. This one happens to be from Aspen. You want to wait until 30 seconds to a minute before you apply your lashes. So I don't recommend blowing on them. I know I just did. I don't recommend it. You can wave them around, whatever. So this is a very thin band of glue, so you can tell it's turned that like iridescent blue color. I'm going to see the angle that I'm coming at here. I press it down first and then I'll do the ends of the lash. I don't want to get it too close to my inner corner because that drives me bananas. Just gently press it down and then set down the edges. You should be able to feel the glue on your skin. If you can't, your glue is either too dry or you've got it on your lashes. And then I'm just taking my fingers and making sure the whole band is pressed down. You can also use the end of the tool to do that. but I don't prefer that because I don't want to get any glue that might have come out or whatever. I don't want to get it on here and then risk pulling my lash off, so that's why I just pinch the end of the lash and just kind of press it towards my skin. And then I'm going to take my finger like this, kind of blink down, and then I'm also going to clamp like that just to make sure they're really on there. I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye. I really like a bold, fluffy lash. More natural lashes, everyone recommends the Ardell Demi Wispies or the Ardell Wispies. Those are fine if that's the style of lash you prefer. Red Aspen has some really nice, more natural lashes. They recently expanded. I'm all for get them as cheap as you can. I'm not saying they're not good lashes, I don't mind getting the cheap lashes. And then for my right eye, I had the applicator turned this way. For my left eye, I'm going to turn it this way. I'm just grabbing the lash like that, waiting for it to dry, waiting for the glue to dry. We'll pop it on, and then I will clear up the mascara underneath my lower lash line. We'll put on some lips, and we'll be done with the tutorial. This typically doesn't take me over an hour to do. It takes me, I can do it in like 20-30 minutes to do all of this stuff. But when I'm yakking, it takes me a lot longer. Okay, so again, coming at an angle here. Setting it down, and then setting down the ends. So I can never tell if they are uneven. Looking like this at myself, to me they look fine. When I look back at editing and I see my face from like how you guys see it, then I'll be able to tell that they're how much this eye drags down, but that's just the way my face is. So I'm going to take a just clean dry Q-tip and just gently flick off that mascara that dried down there. Okay, for lips, I'm going to go in with a lip liner. I really like the Morphe lip liners and the NYX lip liners. Also, those two liners are ones that you have to sharpen. I also like the Ulta automatic lip liners. Charlotte Tilbury has, I've only tried one of them, the Pillow Talk lip liner, but it's expensive. Morphe and NYX are very affordable. Are you hungry, man? Bless him heart, got hiccups. Today I'm going to go in with the NYX Suede Matte Lip Liner in the shade Sandstorm. I'm going to go ahead and give it a good sharpen. This is my favorite sharpener. It's from Ulta. So every once in a while I like a bold lip. Most of the time I go with just some sort of a nude lip, either a pinky toned or a like tan toned lip. So I'm not going to get any of the foundation off my lips. I leave it alone. There's not much on there anyway. I'm just going to line and slightly overline my top lip and just line regularly my bottom lip. I'm working from the side of the pencil to line. And now the tip. So side here, and then when I get down to here, I use the tip. And then to fill in, I use the side of the lip liner. My lips are a little dry. I didn't feel like exfoliating. So same thing on the top. I'm just going to slightly overlay my top lip a little bit. Connecting all the way down to the corner. It looks very cool toned. in the viewfinder. In person, it's not quite as cool toned. And then, well, that's where that went the other day. I couldn't find it. I'm going to go in with the Jaclyn Cosmetics Pout Spoken Liquid Lip in the shade Empowered to do the center of my lip. Sometimes I will go in with a deeper liquid lipstick and then do a lighter one in the center. Today I'm just going to do the lip liner and the liquid lip in the center. This is one of the paler shades in her line. I really, really enjoy this formula. And then with my middle finger or whatever, just kind of tap it out. If you want to reinforce the lip line, now would be the time to do that, to go over with more of the lip pencil or a deeper lip pencil, but this is where I'm going to stop for today. Okay, so that is going to be it for this makeup tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. And also, please let me know what other videos you would like to see. If you want me to go more in depth on something, if I didn't cover it well enough, please let me know and I would be happy to help you out. If you want to see a more dramatic eye look, I can definitely do that for you too. So thank you again so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.